Hey YouTube, it's time to take a look at Japan in Axis and Allies Anniversary Edition 1941 setup. Now before I get too far along, I would like to bring your attention to a video that was posted a little while ago on a channel. The channel name is Sam Kinney Enjoy It, with a couple exclamation points, 3 exclamation points. Sam did a very nice video on a Japanese opening strategy. I like it a lot. I'm going to tweak it a little bit and offer some of my own thoughts for this video. But I think that it's a very solid strategy, and I recommend everyone take a look at that video. Sam is a subscriber of mine, and I'm a subscriber of hers as well. Alright, so when it comes to Japan, Germany has gone before you, and the Soviet Union has also gone before you. Germany isn't going to matter as much. The Soviet Union, the only place that we need to worry about them is up here. If they have pooled a bunch of infantry over here, then we need to make sure that whatever we do, we leave enough in Manchuria that it will at least dissuade them from attacking us. If they pulled back, then we don't have to worry about it as much. If they've totally pulled back, then everybody we have in Manchuria is free to move into China. So we do need to keep an eye on what's going on there. We also have a massive navy. It's all over the place. You know, some here, some here, some here. We actually have 2 preloaded transports over here, which is kind of nice for us. Now we have fighters all over the place. We've got 2 carriers over here, 4 fighters between them, a carrier here with more fighters, fighter on Formosa, fighter on Manchuria, fighter in Japan, fighters all over the place, and we're going to want to make sure that we use every single one of them for something. We also want to make sure that we use all of our transports. We start with 5 of them, which lets us expand quite a bit. We do need to make sure that none of our transports are defenseless at the end of the turn. If they are, then America or England, depending on if they have navy, or down here, there are a couple of places we can be hit from. America has navy in the Philippines, and we don't clear that out. So our transports could be very vulnerable if we are not paying attention. So make sure that you pay attention to them. Alright, so let's start over here in the Pacific, far out in the Pacific. We've got an American battleship to worry about here. We've got just a destroyer over here to worry about. We've got 4 fighters between them. So we can send 2 fighters here, 2 fighters here. Maybe we send this destroyer up here to take a hit if the battleship hits back. But just remember, if we send this destroyer here, it's not going to be able to help out to protect our transports down here. We're going to have to find some other way to do it. That isn't to say that you can't send this destroyer here, but if you do that, you need to make sure you do something else to protect your transports. But I do recommend, in some fashion, taking out these 2 navies. This American Navy is too far away. Now, if we were going with national objectives, we do have one for taking out Hawaii, but that probably isn't going to, actually controlling the island of Hawaii. That is probably not going to be something we can do on the first turn. And for this strategy, we are not going to be looking at national objectives, but if you are playing a national objective game, that is something that you'll want to be paying attention to. Should this be tweaked? If it's a coin flip without them, between going after territory A or territory B, and territory B actually fulfills an objective and A does not, then you might go that route instead. But for this video, we're not going to be factoring in those objectives. Now, let's move across the South Pacific here. You will see, especially over here, we've got 2 money islands, and there's nothing defending them at all. So we want to, at a minimum, make sure that we take these 2. We've got 2 transports and enough. We've got 3 infantry on the Caroline Islands there. We can easily take 2 of these 3. And we would definitely want it to be these 2. Now again, if you're doing national objectives, New Guinea will help you fulfill one, and so you'll want to send a transport here, and let's see, I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You can send from here. You can send a transport to both of those. But if you want to get New Guinea as well, send one there, and you've got two transports up here. You can still grab Borneo with the other one. Now, as we move across over here, so let's say we're going to go after all three of these, and keeping New Guinea out of Allied hands can also be helpful. For the, if the U.S. decides to come in this way, it's one less spot where they can easily land their planes. They're going to fight to take it back. So let's move across here. We've used 3 transports in this scenario to take all 3 of these, which means we have 2 transports left. So what I'm going to recommend, we need to leave enough defense up in Manchuria. We can land some fighters there on non-combat afterwards to help shore up its defense. But sending a small contingent here, maybe sending 1 infantry from here, 1 infantry from there. I know that's in Sam's video, and she mentioned that she got that strategy from somewhere else. I don't recall where it was, but I will give credit to her video, and if you want to check that out, then there will be more information there. Maybe splitting this, an infantry each. We've got a fighter from Japan that can come in, so we've got 2 infantry and a fighter against 1 infantry. We can then send our remaining 2 infantry from here into here. We can send a fighter from Manchuria, so 2 infantry and a fighter, 2 infantry and a fighter. We can send, we have 1 transport here with an infantry and artillery, 1 transport here with it could either be an infantry and an artillery or an infantry and a tank. We're going to want to have 1 of them land here and 1 of them land here. And we have a fighter on Formosa that we could send in if we want. We have 2 fighters on these carriers we could also send in. Now, one thing that I have been playing around with, and from my 1942 setup videos, I do like taking out this fighter, if at all possible, because it is the only real offensive unit that China has. And if we take that out, we have practically neutralized them. And so an idea I have been tossing around is moving these guys from French Indochina up here. Now that's 3 1s against a 2 and a 4, which isn't that great. So we're going to want to send at least 1 fighter from here into there, probably 2 now. And we should be able to take the territory in that case. We are leaving Indochina defenseless, but we could land maybe 2 fighters down here to dissuade England from trying to come in. Now, we do need to worry about this American Navy, and so we could, we do have a battleship and a cruiser and the carrier itself. We could move some combination of that down here. Now keep in mind, if we leave the cruiser and or the battleship, we will get coastal bombardments, and maybe we want to get those, but if at all possible, we do want to get rid of this fleet here. It is just a destroyer, but it could be really annoying to us, again, if we have just 1 transport somewhere because it's deep in the heart of our territory and we think it's safe, and then America does something annoying with its destroyer, or tries to swing up. Maybe we built a transport on our turn, it swings up here and takes that out. We definitely do not want that to happen. And so we'd want to move something down this way to take that out. And whatever we don't send that way, we'll want to send down this way to try and block if England wants to use this transport to come around, maybe move more guys into French Indochina. We're able to block them if we do that. So without actually moving the pieces around, I know it can get a little bit tricky because there's a lot of things to be paying attention for, protecting the transports. Hey, can we get coastal bombardments? Oh, we have to make sure we block this American fleet. And we want to make sure that we stop the British from coming in here. And we'll have a transport here. So we need to make sure we have something here. We're going to be a little bit spread out. Japan has a lot of stuff. Do not let that lull you into a false sense of security, into feeling that you can just haphazardly throw your units around. You need to optimize where everything is, optimize your air power, attack as many places as you can with decent odds of success. You don't want to attack just to attack, but you don't want to give yourself super overwhelming odds in one territory if it means not attacking somewhere else that you should. So there's a lot to look at here. Let's see, did I miss anything? Oh, and for these carriers over here, now your fighters only have to move one space, whether they're attacking here or they're attacking here. And so I would recommend moving these carriers somewhere deeper into your territory. Maybe the Caroline Islands, for example, so that they are in a position where you can strike maybe this way, or back at the Americans, or you could swing down and take Australia, potentially. Because your fighters will move one space, and assuming they don't get destroyed, they should be able to meet up with your carrier wherever your carrier is, and so then that puts you in a position where you can swing around in some direction. Australia is a nice one to have. I mean, it's worth 2 production. It does help you with a national advantage. I actually prefer India over Australia if at all possible. Reason being that it's worth a little bit more, and B, it is kind of your corridor into the bottom of the Soviet Union as well as into Africa. Either direction is going to be very beneficial, especially this one, in my opinion. If Germany is threatening but not quite strong enough, Japan comes in, either distracts the Soviet Union so they can't send as much that way, or maybe allows Germany to take Caucasus, or maybe Japan takes Caucasus and now suddenly has a factory over here. So I prefer this route, but having your pulling your carriers back a little bit gives you that flexibility. You can strike in a couple different directions if you want to. Now, on your second turn, you're probably going to have to pick, and what the United States decides to do on their turn could have a big impact. If they decide to build heavily over here, you might want these carriers to help defend, put up a wall. If the U.S. is going to go after Germany, then you know that at least you don't have to worry about this front. You can go one of these other routes. So those are my thoughts on Japan. And again, I highly recommend checking out Sam's video. I thought it was very good. I actually I played a number of games of Anniversary Edition, but it's always been the 1942 scenario. So I'm kind of going through with these 41 videos saying, well, based on how the board looks and what I think the other countries are going to do, this is what I would do. But I'm interested in the other strategy videos there are out there, and that one in particular I found to be quite good. So I strongly recommend it, and I hope that you all enjoyed this video as well.